Hey everybody, I'm Steph.
I'm Michael
Today we're checking out Epochs Course of Cultures.
from Ice Makes.
Yes.
So this game plays 2 to 4 players and has a box playtime of, drum roll please, 2 to 3 hours.
It's pretty epic.
That's pretty epic.
Yeah.
So we played this just this past month and played a huge 4-player game of it. So it was sprawling all over this great big round table. It took us quite a while just to get through setup. So hopefully I'm going to help you set it up a lot easier than we had to go through. So
before we get started, I just wanted to say this game is currently on Kickstarter.
Whoa.
And I will find that link as Michael talks you through the setup.
Exactly. And you know what Jelfie is going to say? Don't wait, or it'll be too late.
That's right.
So go ahead and back it now, because Jelfia says right there, as you know, things are going to come up. You're going to forget. Just go ahead and back it now, and or back it at the end of this rules video or playthrough, and see if you like it. And hey, then you can back it.
I would say it's not as, heavy, deep, complex as something like Clash of Cultures, but it's not, so light as something like Seven Wonders or whatever. Like it's a pretty good intro to civilization games if you're not really familiar with the genre and you're looking for something a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
So that's where I put it in the range of civilization.
It does give me a little bit of vibes of like Through the Ages or Nations with regards,
a little bit,
but obviously with the map element.
Right. This seems easier than those.
Yes.
So, it's not like,
fans of those games, you'll actually find some crossover there.
For sure.
So
let's take a look.
Let's go ahead. Yeah, while I teach you the setup and then all the rules. So what you're going to do is you're going to have the map set up where you're going to place either 9 tiles like this for 2 players, up to 16 tiles for 4 players, and then you're going to reveal the middle tiles. And if, like on a 3 or 4 player game, you're going to have some of these tiles that connect together. And when you do that, you're going to have to connect the terrains in priority according to this military board. And what I mean by that is first check C terrain and see if there is C here and C on the adjoining hex. You need to make it so that the C's connect. If there are no C's, then you're going to check the plains, and if those are not present, then you'll go to desert, then to forest, finally rock. And so you want to, that's how, whenever you reveal a tile on the board, you're going to do it with this military board order. If there are any spots on the board, like a little question mark, then you're going to place those face down on the board. You'll notice that there is a camp here, little barbarian camp. You're going to place a little barbarian token right on the camp. So you will also need to put this little scroll down here at the bottom. You're also going to place the basic units for Epic 1 onto these spaces right here. Actually, Steph has them backwards. I will change those really quickly. So we've got the, you'll notice that the basic units have this little symbol in the bottom corner. And you'll notice that there are ranged units and melee units. I believe there's the, what it shows for melee units. I believe they call them support base units and support units. I will double check that here in a bit. Place these back here. You will also need to shuffle up all of the market cards of Epic 1, and then place them on this board face down. You'll notice that the market cards all have the brown back on them, and the invention cards all have this blue back on them. So you might wonder why I have the Epic 2 cards, but I'll explain that here momentarily. Um, what you're going to do is shuffle up all of your Epic 2 invention cards and put them here. Shuffle up all of the Epic 1 invention cards. Deal 6 to each player. Deal 4 to the invention board right here, the invention market board, and put all of the rest in the box. You're also going to want to shuffle up all of the Epic 2 and 3 market cards. With regards to the Epic 3 market cards, if you'll hand those to me, Steph, you will set these up so that all of the ones, they don't tell you this in the rules until much later. You're going to take all the ones with the 3 plus on them and include them. And you're going to take all the ones with the 3 on them, shuffle those up, and put 14 of those Epic 3 cards on top. And then those will be ready to go for Epic 3. So you'll give each player 2 civilization boards from which to choose. Where are the rest of those, Steph? So deal 2, choose 1. Let me go ahead and get one of these so I can show what they look like. So we've got the civilization board from Mongolia. Each player will also need a trading board and a government board. We found it super helpful to create player bags for the game with all of the player tokens in them. You'll also have your tokens for, I want to make sure I get this terminology right, a supply token, which is the crate, and the demand token, which has a little handshake symbol. And you're going to set those to the 0 on your board over here. You've got 5 honor tokens. You're going to place those in the lower left-hand corner of your board. You will also have a number of city tokens, player cubes, and trading posts. You're going to need 4 trading posts, 1 city, and 4 of your player cubes that you're going to place on your civilization board. Up here, these are available to you right now. All of the other ones that you've got in your supply, you do not have access to. So make sure not to take them, as I'm sure I will at some point during the game, because my player cubes are conveniently right next to the map. So I am quite sure I'm going to mess that up every now and then. So you'll also take your 2 gray civilization ability cubes and place them here. During the course of the game, you have a chance to purchase 2 civilization abilities during the game. Once you've chosen it, you cannot switch to another one. So make this decision. Don't take this decision lightly.
Choose wisely.
You need to choose wisely on that. So you will also place a food token, a production token, and a science token. The food token is going to be invisible since it is bright green. So the food is bright green, science is blue, production is orange. You're going to place those in the top portion of your little hourglass. I've got my civilization board sideways. The reason it looks like this is because at the end of an epic, your unused resources are going to turn into gold at the normal conversion rate, which I will talk about here in a bit. So each player places a player cube onto the culture track. What is that called, Steph? Oh, yeah, the culture track on the main game board, and 1 cube on the military track. You've also got a lot of these little things that look like arrows. Well, this shows if you have an advantage in certain terrain. For example, if I have a military unit that is good against horses, I will put one of my tokens like so. Uh, Let me show you one of these special ones. For example, you got these Keshiks here. You'll notice that it has advantage in plains and desert and city. So if I were to uh, have these Keshiks as my military unit, I would place one of these on plains, one on desert, and one on city. So you can see which the blue player has advantage in. If for some reason there were two planes, I'm going to mark this twice. So that makes it super easy.
That's good.
That's good. So you'll also notice that on this military track, there's a little barbarian tent on 3 and a city, a neutral city. It's a city with a dove behind it on the 7. That tells what the strengths are for the barbarian city and the neutral city. Also on all of these military cards, you'll also see um, whatever special abilities that they have, if they've got any sort of powers, and you'll also see a formation. If you happen to have a support unit or a ranged unit, as I like to call it, and a melee unit that have the same formation, you are going to get a formation bonus, which gives +1 to the strength. Notice this Keshiks have strength of 3. If they were paired with a unit that had the same formation, you would also add in not only the melee unit strength, you also get a bonus of +1. My phalanx here, you'll notice it's got a completely different symbol. I've got the little blue symbol with little 6 arrows going up. Since I am Greece, I've got access to that phalanx if I were to choose that civilization ability. So, fortunately, that is just about all the setup. Oh, yeah, put your government cube on chiefdom. Everyone starts out as a chiefdom, and eventually we will learn different forms of government, which give you different abilities. So, object of the game is to have the most victory points to become the most prestigious leader throughout 3 epochs. Each epoch is going to um, comprise 6 player turns for each player, so a total of 18 turns for the entire game. Um, who's first player, Steph?
Me.
Okay, how about that? So, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to do the upkeep step. And that's pretty simple. All you're going to do is draw 1 invention card of the next epic. If you're in epic 3, there is no epic 4. So you will want to make sure you will not be able to draw any more cards for that. So Steph is going to get her first invention card of epic 2. This is going to help her plan what she wants to do as she's going forward. Remember, she has 6 of these from epic 1 in her hand already. So I'm going to go ahead and give this to you so you can go ahead and take a look at it.
Nice.
Since you are going to be first anyway. Now Steph has 7 cards. So then we're going to deal 1 market card to the market. For 2 players, we're going to deal 2 market cards to the market. If it's a unit, you're going to put it in the left-hand column. If it's a wonder, you're going to put it in the right-hand column. All of the military units look like what I showed you before. Notice this is a swordsman, which is a normal melee unit. If you were to purchase it, notice it's going to cost, you've got to pay not only 3 science, but you'll also have to have access to iron. I'll talk a little bit more about what to do if you don't have iron here in a little bit. All of the wonders have this green color to them. And again, the purchase cost is up in the corner. If after drawing cards, you have too many cards, they're going to push cards from the bottom, or we're going to push cards out from the top. So those cards will eventually age out. So, and if any of them do go off the edge, then those cards are not in the market. They cannot be retrieved unless you've got power that does so. Then Steph is going to reveal a face down map tile. If all of the tiles have already been revealed, then there won't be, you'll skip this step. You'll notice that some of the tiles have something like this on them. This says that there is either a horse or an iron on this tile. Looks like that's the only one of these anywhere on the board. So that is probably pretty important.
Besides the one in the middle, which had
Yeah, the one in the middle also had one. So, and as you see, there are horses that were available. So, after you reveal the map tile, don't forget to connect it up using this military order.
Hey, Time Roller, thanks for that raid.
Hey, Time Roller. So, and obviously there are only two ways that you can turn each of these tiles. You can have it this way, or you can have it the other way. You can never put a tile off some weird way like this.
We're going to start making our own maps.
Yeah, can't do that.
We also have to line up according to if there's a river, etc. But yeah.
Well, that's what I said.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I said. So, then finally, the last thing you do on the upkeep step is to remove the maintenance cost on your units. A maintenance cost is the cost that you will spend in order to make your units ready. Some units do not have a maintenance cost. If you don't make a unit ready, it will not fight for you that turn. This spearman, for example, it has a maintenance cost of 1 production. And if you do pay it, then it is going to be worth 3 strength to you. However, some units, like my basic Axeman, has no maintenance cost. So there's no maintenance cost that I have to spend on it. And so there won't be anything to remove from turn to turn. Now, this is not a maintenance cost per epic. It is a maintenance cost every single turn you take. So, and you probably won't do that every single turn. So, I will take this time to show the handy dandy player aids. They are really good. As you can see, it tells exactly what to do on the upkeep. So then we're going to move on to the action step, where Steph is going to either play 1 invention of the current epic and then perform an action. Now, keep in mind, it's specifically in that order. Play an invention and perform an action. Or you can discard 1 invention of the current epic and perform 2 actions. Now, this doesn't mean if you got an epic 2 card that you don't like, you can't discard it yet. Only the one of the current epic. When discarding, you're going to discard to the market here. And you're going to cover up whatever was underneath. So, now here's the catch. You must create 3 inventions this epic. So
no more, no less.
No more, no less. So if you are on your final action and you have not done your 3rd invention for the epic, you must do that time. Or if said differently, if for some reason you have gone through 3 turns and you have not done any, turns 4, 5, and 6 are definitely going to include one of those inventions each turn.
There's a reason to hold back because you might be looking for a specific card that someone discards, but there's also a reason to play them early to get bonuses. So there's give and take with playing and not.
And that's what you want. You want that in a Civ game.
Oh, for sure.
So, whenever you play an invention card as an invention, you get the debut reward in the top left-hand corner. Yes. For example, if I created fishing, hey, that's going to give a food. And a new invention is going to give impact to the world. So the player on your left also gets the debut reward. So I get a food. Steph also, unfortunately, gets a food.
Even in a 2-player game.
It doesn't say any different.
Nice.
So
we're helping each other.
And then you're going to get the abilities on it. Steph won't get the abilities. Notice it says gain one food with a little exclamation point on it. That means that's a one-time thing. I get that once. And and then you get this forever and ever.
Never, never.
Forever and never, never.
Sometimes there's only a one-time ability, but otherwise it might be an ongoing ability.
So keep that in mind. This and this are not the same thing. This is the debut. This is your specific.
Yep.
For yourself. So you and the player to your left get the debut. Only you get this bottom thing.
Which was interesting in a 4-player dynamic because like I'm relying on Michael to play what I need him to play. That never works out.
So, if you ever get basic resources like food, you go up here in the upper area. If you ever get gold, you store it in the lower area. You will not be able to keep these from epic to epic. Everything will convert to gold. Basically, this is Epic 1 is like a snapshot of this epic, right?
Yeah.
And then you fast forward to Epic 2, basically.
Yeah. Where
everything stays in place, but now we have access to more modern abilities and units.
Yeah.
So, whenever you gain what is called authority, it looks like a little gray symbol with 3 flags on it. It might be sort of super small, but it looks just like this icon right here. Whenever you gain authority, that means it means to take a player cube from your supply and put it next to your civilization. You will want these cubes because without cubes, you can't put cubes on the board. You can't put cubes onto other things anywhere. So you will want to have these cubes to do things. Also, you can use this authority to convert resources. But I will talk about that here in a second. And you can only have 24 of those at maximum. Whenever you encounter a little pink symbol, it looks like it's this little diamond with a harp in the middle. That means you're going to gain culture. If I were to gain 4 culture, I'm going to move up to here. If Steph were to gain 4 culture, she lines her cube up behind mine. So if there's ever a tiebreaker that has to be done, who has the most culture? I would have the most culture, even though we are tied, because I arrived to the 4 space first.
And I just copied you.
And you just copied me. So, and whenever you go around to, if you lap the board, you've got these little 30 plus tokens.
Yeah.
Without cubes, no cubes. Got it, says Bree.
Paying attention.
So, here are the actions that you can take. The expand action will cost you 1 food. If you'll notice on your player board, you'll notice all of the actions are right here, and they all have really handy symbols. So if you can fetch me a player board so I can show that up close. It costs 1 food. Oh, how about yours?
Just easier.
It's just easier. So if you'll notice this ability, it costs a food, and you get to expand somewhere on the map. Moving a cube from your civilization board to a hexagon, and that becomes your land. Notice taking it off of my civilization board, dropping it down right there. Hey, look, I have access to horses. That's pretty cool. So, the first time you do an expand action, you don't have any lands, so you can place it anywhere you want. However, the target hexagon cannot be owned by your rival, so if Steph were to do that on turn 1, I could not plop my cube right next to hers. I would have to kick her out of that land first. Mm-hmm. You cannot put your cube anywhere where there are barbarians. And you cannot put your cube right in the middle of the sea. If for some reason this were a sea hex you would not be able to put that down. Now, the rules say in the base game you cannot put it in the sea. That might mean that there could be an expansion at some
There
point.
is on the Kickstarter. You can
What?
back it with the expansion. There's a whole bunch more nations.
Another reason to get the Kickstarter.
Yeah, so there's like the base game and the base game with the expansion and even a deluxe.
Yes. So there are 4 natural resources on the map: horses, which we've talked about; iron, which we've talked about a little bit; and there are, I think it's called minor and major luxuries. The minor luxuries looks like a little trophy cup, and the major luxuries,
they're on that question mark.
Looks like a little. They're what?
Yeah, those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to flip them over because they're
That's
shuffled.
that you might find them.
You might find them if you have a little question mark anywhere out here. And when you expand to that territory, you turn it over and you get what's on it. If it's a resource like horses or iron or the luxuries, you're going to keep it there. Otherwise, it might just give you an immediate bonus of food or production.
Yeah.
Or gold. So, yeah, it's gold or food is what it says. Another action that you can do is to build a city. And they jump around on this in the rules. So I'm going to go in the rules order. So to build a city, it's going to cost you 3 production. And you find a spot on the intersection of 3 hexes where you control those hexes. So if for some reason I were controlling these 3 hexes, I can build a city at that intersection right there. If I only have 2, I can't build the city here. So you need to have a third. Let's say, for instance, though, that these were C hexes. If these are C hexes, then sure, I can place my city here, because with a C hex, nobody can own this, and I have the other 2. I would be able to put my city down. There's even a case where if both of these are C, I could put my city down right here because I own the only land next to this spot. If there is a city on an adjacent intercept point, like if I have built my city here and Steph, eventually kicks me out of these spots and has these 3 spots, she cannot put a city right next to, sort of like a Catan rule. So you have to be at least 2 spaces away in order to put a city down. So, and here's the last kicker: you cannot build a city on the edge of the map.
No.
I know, right? So, another thing that you can do is to build a trading post. So, with a trading post, you can either do it by land or by sea. It will tell you right here what it will take for you to do that. So, you need to have a starting point and a target city. Your starting point has to have something of yours: a cube, a city, another trading post. As long as you are 1 to 2 spaces away, then you can create a trading post with either a player or a neutral city. You will have neutral cities that will be placed on the map. Those are these white cities. So white is not a player color that is used for the neutral city. So also, the target city must not belong to a warmonger player. We're going to talk about warmonger players in quite some detail. But if someone has this little warmonger token, that means that they've declared themselves to be a warmonger and have the ability to attack anyone on the map. Here's the catch: if Steph were to declare herself to be a warmonger, then I can now attack Steph without any sort of penalty to myself because she declared herself to be a warmonger and I'm just defending myself. Now, there are some notable penalties associated with becoming a warmonger, so you'll have to decide whether it is worth it for you. I'll talk about that more here in a bit. Um, so the target city that you want to develop a trading post with has to, like I mentioned, be a non-warmonger player or be a neutral player. Must not have a trading post by you, because you can't have two trading posts in the same city. Have less than two trading point posts and be reachable from my starting point. So if I had this spot right here and I wanted to connect up with Steph City over here, 2 spaces away. Her city is right on the edge of these 2 spaces, since these are on intersections and not actually on the other spots. I can create a trading post with her. I will just basically put my trading post right next to her city, and
So long as I agree.
Well, that is the other catch, is that Steph has to agree that I have the trading post there. Now, neutral cities always agree. And whenever you create a trade route with a player, you both get 1 gold immediately. That doesn't happen with the neutral player. It does happen with with actual players. So, so whenever you get any sort of um, trading post, then you are going to get where is it? You're going to get 1 demand. No, 2 demand. Sorry. Whenever you build a city, you get 1 demand. Whenever you build a trading post, you get 2 demand. Whenever you have a major luxury, you're going to get 2 supply. Whenever you have an iron or a horse or a minor luxury, you're going to get 1 supply. So this little part down here will let you know when you should move up your supply and demand tracks. This is going to be important because you're going to get some resources at the end of the epic based on your lowest one of these. So if my supply was at a 5 and my demand is at a 3, then at the end of the epic, I'm going to get 1 gold and 1 culture. If I could just boost that up to 5 by creating a trading post, that increases what I get significantly.
Yeah, but if you go warmonger, you lose it all.
That's correct. Well, that's one of the penalties that we're going to talk about when we talk about going warmonger.
Yay!
Are you going to go warmonger this time?
Maybe.
In the game that we played, nobody went warmonger, but we're going to talk about that. So, if you do a route by sea, it can be an unlimited distance. So if I can reach Steph's sea trading post across the sea, then it's going to cost a little more. It's going to cost 2 production instead of 1, but I'm going to be able to go all the way across the sea. So, and this is the little guide that basically says, hey, if you're creating a trading post with a player, you both get a gold. So that is that. You could do academic research over here, and that's going to cost you some amount of money, some amount of science based on the research track. That's this little scroll that's right here on the game board. So if I want to advance to this next level, I pay 1 science and I move this up here. And before I move this, I will choose either 3 food or 1 culture, one or the other, not both, and then cover it up. Now that's not available, and the next scientific advancement will be available. And we keep going up and up and up on this until we get to the top. The 7 science row will never get covered up. Basically, you spend 7 science to get 4 culture.
Which ends up being 4 points.
And yeah, so you want to... Culture directly translates into victory points.
Always good to go culture.
That sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So keep in mind, you're only doing the left side or the right side. You could decide to build a wonder. Hey, those are those wonders that are over here in the market. So it's going to cost you whatever production that the card costs you. and you are also going to gain whatever abilities. Wonders can provide culture. They can provide, um,
Thanks, Dan.
yes. They can provide culture. They can also provide, what is that term that I'm thinking of? Authority. Authority are the player cubes. I should just call them cubes.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'm going to just call them cubes. So, for example, if you were to build this statue of Zeus, it's going to cost you 4 production, and you're going to get a culture and 2 authority. Further, you get 1 fewer culture punishment for becoming a warmonger. Oh, we're going to learn a little bit about that. I keep teasing it. Eventually, it's going to happen.
Oh, yes.
So, you could upgrade one of your military units.
Yay.
Basically, you're not upgrading the card that's there. You're pretty much just replacing it.
Yes.
And you're going to replace it with any of them that are available in the market. It's going to cost you some amount of science. And then you're going to take the card and place it into your display. So, if you are technically, yes, you are upgrading your units because you're going to pay the cost minus, no, sorry. Yes, if you have a current unit, you only pay the outstanding cost compared with your current unit. So if I have the swordsman, which costs 3 science, and I want something that costs me 6 science, I only pay the 3 science difference.
That's good.
That is good. Now, here's a catch. Swordsman takes iron. What if I don't have iron? Because there's only 1 spot on the board that might have iron down here in the corner. What if this doesn't even have iron on it? Does that mean that neither Steph nor I can get a swordsman? We can. We just have to pay more science. We have to pay 2 extra science for each icon that we cannot handle.
Ouchie.
So instead of 3 science, the swordsman would cost 5 science. Now, keep in mind that whenever I'm upgrading, if I don't have iron, this is not worth 5 science. It is only worth the printed cost of 3 science. So if I'm upgrading to that 6 science unit, I have to pay 3 science when upgrading.
And if it had a requirement of metal as well, you'd have to pay additionally again.
That's correct. If it needs different things for each icon you cannot handle, it's an additional 2 science. So, let's see here. You can have 1 main unit and 1 support unit. You can never have multiple main. You can never have multiple support. You're just going to place both of your cards like so. So if I were to get the archer, I would not be upgrading the axeman. I would have a new support unit.
Yeah, they keep it easy with the 2 symbols, and
yes,
you can have 1 of each symbol. That's it.
And a lot of Civ games do that.
Yeah,
where you can only have 1 melee and 1 ranged type of unit. So after you have built your military unit, don't forget to upgrade your combat value tracks and your advantages here. So for example, if I were to get the archer, I would have a strength of 2. I would place my marker on the 2. And this will change throughout the game. If you don't remember to do it, you're not going to lose any of it. Just recount what you've got at any given time. Nor is there any sort of in the lead sort of order. For example, if Steph and I were like this, I don't have the lead on her in this like I would on culture. So you could, there it is, you could change your form of government. And to do so, you need to have reached a certain space on the culture track. For example, to go up to the next level of government, you need to have at least 2 culture. Well, that's going to allow me to upgrade from a chiefdom to a classical democracy or a monarchy or a republic. Now, notice where these arrows go. If I were to upgrade from a chiefdom to a republic, I'm basically making sure that I can never get monarchy, classical democracy, or federalism, because in order to get libertarianism, I'm going to have to go diagonally up this chart. There are some player abilities that will allow you to move horizontally on a track, but they are not very common. So keep that in mind when deciding where you want to go on the government track. You have to make sure that you can actually get from one government form to another. To go to this second level, you need to have 8 culture, and the third level requires 14 culture, and these are marked on your culture on the culture track, so you'll know when that's available. And obviously on your board here on the side, you'll notice on the side it takes 2 or 8 or 14 culture to move up to those rows.
And you want to.
You absolutely want to. Upgrading your government allows you to get more cities. As a chiefdom, you can have a whopping 1 city. As a monarchy, you can have 2 cities, but as a republic, you can have 3 cities. So keep that in mind. You're also going to get a one-time bonus of, for example, as a monarchy, you get 1 gold and 3 authority. As a republic, you don't get the gold, but you get a 4th authority. And that's in addition to what you've already managed to acquire. So you're going to get 4 new cubes. And Bree already knows if you got no cubes, you got no cubes. So sometimes you just need extra resources. So, like most other games, there is the pity action to take. And the pity action in this case is called the production command. What you're going to do is you're going to get whatever resources are on your government, your current form of government, and you're going to get those resources. For example, if you're a chiefdom, your production action is just going to give you a whopping 1 food. Same thing for monarchy, 1 food. Republic, 1 production. Empire, 2 production. So it all depends on what your government type is. Oops. I was almost made myself communist. So that's all of the different actions you can take. And they're, like I say, they're all conveniently located on your board. The next thing to do after action step is the military step. The first thing you need to do on military is to pay any expenditures to activate your military. And when you do, you're going to place it directly on the unit. For example, if I were to have this swordsman, if I wanted to activate that swordsman to be ready to fight for me, I need to put that production on the card. And this is what you're going to remove on upkeep. Every time you have upkeep, you're going to remove that production off that card, meaning he's no longer ready for you.
Oh.
Yeah, he's not going to fight for you if you don't pay him.
Gotta pay him.
Gotta pay him. If they're not ready for war, they cannot attack. If you have paid the cost, then you can attack or defend with their combat value and their advantages. So, the next thing you need to do is declare as a warmonger. And that's how you launch attacks on other players and on neutral cities. You do not need to be a warmonger to attack barbarians. You do need to be a warmonger to attack other players and to attack neutral cities.
Whoa.
So, first thing you do, take this scary warmonger token and place it in front of you. That shows everyone that you mean business. Next, remove all of your trading posts everywhere on the map and other people's trading posts next to your cities. You are no longer engaged in trade. Your cities do not, and you no longer have trading posts. So, and then you can place them back on your civilization board. Thirdly, only for the turn you become a warmonger can you attack each of your rivals at the table separately. In addition, well, you can either do that or you can launch an attack against a neutral city or barbarians. However, you cannot attack each player at the table and a neutral city and a barbarian. It has to be just players or just a barbarian or just a neutral city. So, every time you remove a trading post, for each trading post that returns, you get a gold. So, let's say I kick you out of two of my cities, you're going to get 2 gold. And if I kick myself out because I became a warmonger and I have one trading post out there, he comes home, I get a gold. So, if you are attacking, you can declare an attack target that's adjacent to your land or cities. I've got a land here. I've got barbarians next door. Then I can attack these barbarians. So, if you're not a warmonger, the only individual tokens you can attack are barbarians or warmongers. Those are the only things I can attack as a non-warmonger. If I am a warmonger, then I can attack a barbarian, or a neutral city, or one player. The only time you can attack each player at the table is the first turn you take Warmonger.
And you're going to epic or just the first time in the lead time?
No, the first time that epic.
Okay.
You are going to retain the Warmonger title for the entirety of the rest of the epic.
No more trading.
And no more trading for that epic. So, choose the place where you're going to attack and then launch the attack. What you're going to do is you calculate the total strength that you have, comparing it with the attack target. The highest one wins the war. So, what you're going to do, it's not going to be completely, I've got 3 and it's got 2, and so I have automatically won. What you're going to do is you're going to roll a number of these dice. These are not normal dice. These have values on it from 0 to 4. I believe there's 2 zeros.
And 1, 2, 3.
2 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exactly right, Steph. So you are going to roll 1 die plus your advantages. So if I have an advantage in planes, then I'm going to roll 1 die for just because I'm attacking, and 1 die because the barbarians are in the plains. Now, here is a special note that we had to do some research on. If I were to attack this neutral city, it is completely encircled by plains. It is not plains. It is only the city unit type. So I would need an advantage in cities, generally by having something like a catapult or a ballista. Yeah, that catapult right there, you notice it's got 2 city advantages. So if I have that as one of my units and I'm attacking a city, I'm going to get 2 extra dice when attacking that city.
Seems good.
It just seems really good. So, I will roll. Barbarian camps are always 3. Neutral cities are always 7, as I mentioned before. If there is a trading post, let's say Steph has a trading post in this neutral city, Steph can decide to be the neutral city's protector. If there are multiple people in this city, like let's say the green player also had one in there, you have to decide amongst you who wants to be the protector. If you can't decide and they both want to be the protector, then whoever is next to me clockwise, going clockwise, which probably be the green player. If the green player is over here, then the green player would be the protector because you're too far clockwise from me.
All right.
So then you will get to protect the city, not using the city's values. They would be using your unit's values. If you decide you don't want to, then you're just going to use the neutral city's 7. So, what's going to happen after this? If it's a barbarian camp, you remove it and you may place a cube to occupy that hexagon as a reward. Hey, that's great.
From your available cube.
From your available cubes.
Yes.
If you don't have one, it can just be blank.
Okay.
Just like that. If it is a neutral city with no protector, you can remove it or you can replace it with your city as a reward.
Provided you have one.
As long as you can do one based on your government. For a war against a player, specifically, there are 3 different kinds of benefits based on how well you did. If you were 1 or more larger, then you remove an honor token from the defender. That's these tokens here that we placed on our board here. We've got 5 of them. They're worth a point apiece. If they don't have one, then you don't get one. Too bad. If Steph were to have protected this neutral city, then I would indeed get one of her honor tokens if I am 1 or more larger than her defense. If I'm 3 or more, then I get to remove the target cube or city or the neutral city, or I can replace it. And if it's 6 or more higher, I get to take a gold from the defender. Or if you're protecting a neutral city, I get a gold from you.
Is that cumulative?
It says up to 3 kinds of benefits. So
yes.
It is cumulative. So I would get an honor and removing the city and replacing it with mine and taking a gold from you if I am 6 greater than you. 6 or more greater.
I mean, that seems pretty good.
Seems pretty good.
But you're a warmonger, so.
Now, if for some reason you have an ability, an invention that allows you to gain something when you expand or building cities, plopping a city down is not building the city. If I put my blue cube down, this is not expanding. This is kicking out the warmonger, the barbarian.
I think it means when you take that action.
When you actually take the action, yes.
Yeah.
But just keep that in mind. Now, that is in the rules, so I wanted to make sure that I pointed it out.
Yep.
So, there are also various free actions you can take, except in the middle of a current action or in the middle of a war. You can, down here in the bottom corner, you'll notice if you spend 2 of your authority cubes, you can convert a resource to any basic resource, meaning a food, a science, a production, or a gold can become a science, food, or production. Obviously, production can't become gold. Gold is not a basic resource.
But gold is also wild, so.
Well, yes, and it did take us a while to figure that out in the rules. What can you use gold for? It's a wild resource. And it's not, it took me a while to find that in the, I believe actually it was on the back page of the rules on the summary. But what you're going to do with those authority cubes is you're going to put them right here on this spot. You will get them back at the end of the epic, but those 2 cubes are locked down for the rest of the epic. So, you could also take a free action to unlock one of your 4 civilization abilities. If there is a cost on it, then you have to pay. For example, if I were the Mongolians here, I would have to pay a food in order to take Tengrism. Tengrism? Whatever Tengrism is. So it will give me 1 victory point at the end of the game for every 2 planes that I have. Anything that has this hourglass is going to be at the end of the game. Keep in mind, you can only have 2 of those abilities for the entire game. After the military step, Your turn ends. The next player takes their turn. We keep going until each of us has taken 6 turns. And that is the end of the epic. Then what we're going to do is we're going to resolve the end of the epic things, which are here in the middle of your player aid. And if you have this game in front of you, you can follow along with me. First, we're going to gain a work of art according to your culture rank. If you're playing 2 players, only the first place player is going to gain a work of art. The more works of art you have by the end of the game, the more points you're going to get. Do you remember what the conversion rate is, Steph?
There was a chart.
Yes.
I believe it's just the normal triangular, but I could be wrong.
It is a little bit different. One, if I can even get it out here on the screen, 1, 3, 5, 8, 12, 17, 22. And it is super hard to get 7 works of art. Remember, you're only going to get 1 work of art each epic if you have the most culture. That's what? That's only 3. You're going to need 4 more.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. Well, if you're playing in a 3-player game or a 4-player game, you're still only getting a maximum of 3.
You have to find other ways of getting them.
In a 3-player game, the top 2 will get it on the first 2 epics. Only the top player gets it on the 3rd epic. On a 4-player game, top 3, then top 2, then top 1 on each epic. So the most you're going to get is 3. To get 7, you're going to have to find special ways of doing it. For example, you might get it on the research track, or you might get it on an ability, or you might get it becoming a libertarian.
It's rare.
It is hard.
You need to find it on like wonders and stuff.
Yes. Now you want to make sure to keep your works of art down here with your honor, and that way you can keep up with it easily. The next thing you're going to do is to gain trading income. That's where you're going to look at your supply and demand and take the lowest, the resources underneath the lowest value. Then you're going to do food consumption. Hey, your cities need to eat.
What?
Your cubes on the board don't need to eat. Only your cities do. In Epic 1, it is 1 food per city. Epic 2, 2 food per city. Epic 3, 3 food per city. But you're also going to get rewards based on those cities that you are feeding. In Epic 1, you get an authority and a culture. In Epic 2, 2 gold and a culture. Epic 3, there's the biggie, 4 victory points for each city that you feed. And what happens if you starve your cities out? Too bad. You've got to remove the city and you lose a culture for each. Don't do that.
Bad.
You can't feed them wood like in Stone Age. It doesn't work.
I want to feed them rocks.
So, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to do gold conversion at a 3-to-1 rate. If I had this at the end of the epic, I'm going to remove all these and get 1 gold down here in the bottom. Gold is the only thing that stays from epic to epic. Your basic resources do not remain. If you've got 5 resources here, too bad. You've got 1 gold. You don't round up. So, the next thing that happens is that barbarians are going to pillage. Each barbarian is going to steal a gold from adjacent players. So if I were here and here, there is a barbarian next to me. He's going to steal 1 gold from me. Oh, hey, look, Steph is here. He's going to steal a gold from me and a gold from Steph.
So rude.
Yep, it doesn't matter how many of my cubes are next to him. He is going to steal 1 cube from each player who is next to him.
But this.
This would mean this barbarian is stealing from me, and this barbarian is stealing from me.
So 2 gold.
This would be 2 from you, 1 from me.
Yeah.
Because that barbarian is next to you, but not me.
Yep.
This barbarian is next to both.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Kill the barbarian. That's my advice.
Because I'm dead.
Then, if you have any of these cubes that are locked down, you get to remove them back to your player board, which I have been using for examples and have not restored on my board. Finally, Warmongers. Well, no, well, it's not actually finally. It's almost finally. Return the Warmonger token because you're no longer a Warmonger at the end of the epic, and you're going to receive a 1 culture, 2 culture, or 3 culture penalty, depending on your epic.
So rude.
So, that makes this statue of Zeus super good because that means you lose 0, 1, or 2.
Better.
It is better. Then you're going to set up the new epic. That is the end. The last thing you need to do, discard all of the old epic market cards that are not yet put into the market, if any. Meaning these will stay, these disappear, the ones on the draw pile. Then you're going to put the new market deck down. So for Epic 2, you need all the Epic 2 cards, shuffle them, put them face down. Remember, Epic 3, you're going to take all the 3 pluses, put them on the bottom, take 14 of the 3s, put them on top of that. And that's what you're going to use. Then you're going to set up the invention market. All of those disappear. You're going to take 4 new ones from the upcoming epic. So 4 2s are going to come out. All the rest of these 2s are going to go away, as will all of these 1s. And then you're going to shuffle up all the 3 inventions, put them here. If you're going into Epic 3, no cards will be here. Then you're going to start the new epic, lather, rinse, repeat. At the end of the game, culture is worth 1 victory point apiece. Honor tokens, 1 victory point apiece. Every land, 1 victory point apiece. Every city, 4 victory points apiece. And it is unclear whether this is the same 4 victory points.
We got that answered.
So this is the same 4 victory points as feeding them. So feeding them basically doesn't give you anything at the end of the epic. This is the end game 4 points.
Yeah.
Okay, I was making sure that we had gotten an answer on that.
We did.
Good. Every 2 gold, 1 victory point. Then you might gain victory points by some of your abilities on your player sheet, and you're going to gain victory points for your works of art. Most victory points wins. If there's a tie, highest culture wins, and that will not be a tie because highest culture is based on the placement of that cube in the spot. So that.
I just wanted to clarify.
Yes.
The game, the first action I have to take is to place a cube, I think. Like you have to start with 1 action.
Sounds familiar. I'm going to double check that.
I think that was just the start of the game.
For your first action, you must choose to expand to locate the place of origin of your nation. Yes, you can't be hidden at the start of the game.
Yeah.
So now that doesn't mean you must do an invention and that.
No.
Which, if you do an invention, your last action must be that
for the first.
For the first action.
Yeah.
Or you can do 2 actions, one of which is explore, one of which might be something else entirely. Now, keep in mind, attacking the barbarians is not an action. That's part of the military step.
And it's free, provided
meaning it's free, yes.
Well,
provided you've
paid for your
paid your upkeep.
Military, yeah.
Yes, paid your maintenance for that unit, and that is all the rules.
That's a lot of rules, Michael.
It's a lot of rules. Sorry.
Well, at least you got a thorough, explanation for those who wanted to learn everything about the game. What keeps it different are different nations, the way you choose to progress on the tracks, the cards that come out and how they come out, what technologies you're getting. So there's a lot of good strategies to try here. So we're going to see how this game goes. Yep.
And just for those of you who are thinking about backing this on Kickstarter and are not quite sure and have not gotten to our playthrough yet, this did make my top 10 of April 2024. So
because on Kickstarter now you can get the base game for $85.
Nice.
You could get the base game and expansion for 108.
which we don't have.
Nope. Or you can get the deluxe all in, which gives you a whole bunch of deluxe content,
Ooh.
including the expansion and the base game for 169. So there's those three options on Kickstarter right now.
Sounds great.
And there's a lot of content here, so go check it out. Check out our playthrough video, which is going to be happening right now.
Right now.
So check out that video after the fact on YouTube if that's what you're looking at now.
Sounds good.
So we are gonna end this.
So if you enjoyed this teach and you want more just like it, or you want to see the playthrough of this game or several others, hey, come find us on YouTube at BoardGamerSteph. Or you can join us on twitch.tv/BoardGamerSteph every Wednesday and Sunday night at 5 p.m. Central, where we stream how many games?
3 or more.
Every single stream. So come join us on Twitch where we play all the games.
And for those on Twitch, we'll be right back.